Welcome to the Vibe Higher podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Rahoviak, your go-to for all things self-growth, personal development, and becoming your most authentic self. I know you've got a dream on your heart and a vision in your mind you are so ready to experience and unlock in your life, and I'm here to help you do just that. Meet me here every single weekday at 5 a.m. That's right, Monday through Friday, to start your morning off right. Come get your vibe right, elevate your confidence, worthiness, and voice so you can finally start being the person that you desire to be. Get ready to vibe higher because your next level starts now. Welcome back, dear sister. Welcome back, Holisty, to the Vibe Higher podcast. We are coming to you live early on this beautiful morning, and it is raining outside. I have about an hour until I need to leave. I am heading to see the Wicked for Good movie, and then I've got some errands to run, and then I've got a lot of content to create tonight, so I'm so excited. And I did spend the morning putting together my office, so everything is pretty much all set, and I'm really loving it. I'm loving how it's turned out. I am recording this podcast also as a video, so if you want to tune in on YouTube and sit with me in real time, please do. I am drinking some hot ginger honey tea, and I was just reflecting on a lemon would be really good in this, but maybe next time. So welcome to today's episode, beautiful woman, and I want to take a moment actually for us to breathe because we all know I could always use a deep breath, so let's breathe together. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and you're going to fill up your belly because this relaxes your body and your mind. Breathing into the belly. All right. Take a deep breath in, fill up your belly, your low waist, and your low back. And an exhale. And again, breathe. And out. Last one, breathe. And out. I love rain. I love when it rains. It's raining outside, and rain for me has always been a really comforting weather. It has always made me feel safe and secure and comforted for some reason. I think it's because the rain and the water and the gloominess and the dreariness always resembled, I guess, a sadness for me. Like it brings a different kind of introspection and permission to just go inside of yourself and be with yourself because there's not too much to do out in the rain. And my entire life has been pretty sad. I've had sadness as a really close best friend of mine. That emotion really was with me for majority of my life, and rain always felt comfortable and safe and cozy, and sadness is that for me. I think there's some more processing work to do around what that means, but ultimately I love when it rains, and I think I just really am practicing loving all kinds of weather and all experiences. And although I have preferences and things that I enjoy more than the other, just really trying to take in life and the ever-changingness of it and the differences of it and accepting it and just taking it all in. So today's podcast, I am so excited. We're on podcast episode number 34. How fun. And only in a few months. How fun. Today we are talking about how to stop spiraling and start rising. And typically what I do with my podcasts when I create a title, because I create the topic or the title that I want to teach on or talk about, and then I create some kind of layout with different points and structure to it. And I don't want to do that today. I wanted to come on today for our podcast and be authentic and spontaneous and just have a real conversation with you without anything planned, to just talk. Because there's a lot, I feel like I did drink ceremonial cacao before this. I drank ceremonial cacao. I sat with myself for some time, and I then decorated my office and really practiced what I drank. I have back here the 4-pack elemental blend of the ceremonial cacao by Cacao Laboratory. This is the one that I drank today, the Earth Blend, and it was so good and so delicious. I chopped up about 2 squares with about a half a tablespoon of maca powder with honey to taste, about 3/4 of a cup of hot water, and a pinch of salt. And I drank that this morning, and I just wanted to sit with myself and cacao, and it was so lovely. It was so lovely. which is why I am really excited for my devotion challenge. Intimate small groups has always been who I've served. And in that, I get to know women so deeply and so intimately. And there's more space for these women to share when it's just a few of us. So I'm so excited for it because we have the opportunity to meet every Sunday to really connect and open up and discuss and share and work on different things together. And then every day of the week, our goal is to sit with Cacao at the altar or in meditation or at our desk and create and talk and listen and dance and connect with ourselves with the catalyst of Cacao. Devotion is a beautiful opportunity for you to slow down and connect with yourself and be with yourself. And the medicine helps you access a greater connection to who you are. And if you're anything like me, who has a very confusing and traumatic background, I would say that I was in such delusion from being so dysregulated and so separate from truth that I didn't even realize anything bad happened in my past. I thought I had a good childhood. I thought I had a good, normal life. I didn't remember anything that happened to me. I didn't remember 15 years of sexual abuse. I didn't really remember emotional abuse. I remember a little bit of physical abuse, but really I thought my life was pretty good. And I thought something was genuinely just wrong with me because I had so many issues and symptoms and behavioral problems, but all I could remember was nothing that had gone wrong that I would think caused me to be the way that I was. And that is how in disillusion I was from the truth. So Cacao has been with me before. I remembered my trauma during the process of remembering my trauma and afterwards. And I do consider Cacao like a friend. I think of her like a sister, someone that I say someone because she has a spirit that you connect with when you work with her, which is why devotion is so powerful, because you have 4 weeks every day sitting with the medicine and connecting with the spirit of it. And my spirit and her spirit have connected a lot over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I can't even recall at this point. So sitting with her is really meaningful to me and important to me because she's helped me through a lot of different things. And I create this opportunity for you to devote to sitting with yourself and Cacao so that you can learn and experience what that is for you as well, just like it was for me, but in your own way. And no, you don't have to sit with Cacao in devotion. You don't have to sit in ceremony with any medicine other than your presence, your willingness to stop, slow down, and be with yourself. So if you want to join devotion, doors do close in a couple days. It closes on Friday, the 28th. We do begin our live ceremonies together on Sunday, November 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We meet every single Sunday starting November 30th for 1 hour, a live ceremony where I will take us through a guided journey and guided experience. I'll share the themes for the week, what we're working on, the transformation we are going to endure together. And then we get to chat every single day in the private group chat that we get to engage in, where we're sharing recipes, we're inspiring each other when we're sitting in ceremony. I'm giving you journal prompts. I'm sharing bonuses that I have coming. So it's just going to be really fun. Ultimately, what we do is we meet live every Sunday for a ceremony, and then you sit with yourself every day. The goal is at least once. But if you want to go all the way with the challenge, then you sit with yourself every day and you drop in and you connect with the theme, you connect with the mantra I give you, and you allow the medicine, if you're working with it, to support you in the transitionary process of releasing the old, the you that's not who you desire to be, so you can truly create space for and welcome in the new you. I recommend working with Cacao. If you want to join devotion, I highly recommend you get your Cacao today, right now. You get the 4-pack elemental blend by Cacao Laboratory. You can join devotion by going to vibehigherwithsarah.com/devotion. Go to vibehigherwithsarah.com/devotion. Join the challenge, and then go to cacaolaboratory.com to get the 4-pack elemental blend of the ceremonial cacao medicine. Use my code HOLISTIC10 for 10% off your cacao medicine. Holistic10 for 10% off your medicine. Again, that information is down below. You can still start the journey and the process if you don't have the medicine. You can get the medicine halfway through. You're still going to gain a lot of transformation and support and change and opportunity to slow down and connect, because ultimately this is a process of being seen. This is a process of feeling heard, of connecting with yourself and allowing your true self to emerge. So the medicine is helpful, but it's not necessary. And the group chat is just going to be so much fun for us connecting. So please come join. It's going to be an amazing time. I usually host it at least once a year. So we're ending 2025 with our devotion challenge. When we talk about no longer spiraling and starting to rise, there's only one thing to consider here. Just one. And it's to be honest. Because as soon as you stop being honest with yourself, and we all have the power to deceive ourselves, we all have the power to talk ourselves into anything we want to believe, which is a detriment to many of us, which is why it is very important to commit to being honest and to tell the truth. Because when you start to tell yourself a lie, or when you start to say something you don't mean, or when you, even something as small as when you say yes, but you really don't mean it, you mean no, you start to confuse your psyche. The ground of foundation that you stand upon and live your life from starts to crumble every time you're not honest. Think about that. You have a ground of understanding that you stand on, that you look at life from, you live from. And every single time you speak non-truth to yourself, in your mind, or to others, you start to distort your sense of reality. The ground beneath you starts to slip, starts to crack, and then sooner than later, by the time you've told multiple lies to yourself or to others, that ground is no longer stable. And you now do not know which way is up and down. You're believing any thought that you think. You're believing any feeling you have because you have no reference to the truth anymore. You don't have a moral compass guiding you anymore. And when you get to that place of being dishonest with yourself enough to where you don't remember who you are and you don't know what's true and you don't know what to believe, that's a very scary place to be. It truly is. I've been there before, and I didn't realize that by not being honest, it was at a serious detriment to my mental health. So it's important, and I can even give you an example because I was just thinking about a client who is, to a degree, very aware of a relationship she's in that she does not want to be in, but does not understand or does not know what to do. She's convinced herself many things. She's told herself many stories, and she doesn't really know what to do, and her fear is paralyzing her. And what I've helped her with is to help her at least be honest with yourself. You don't need to take action or change your situation because you have free will. You can stay in this relationship. You can leave this relationship. You can stay here for the rest of your life with this person, or you can leave and start fresh. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that you don't try to convince yourself that you're happy, or convince yourself you should stay, or convince yourself there's something here for you when your heart is deeply telling you that that is not the truth. So just tell the truth. Just be honest with yourself for your own sanity. Truly for your own sanity. I remember in our Seedlings call recently, this individual was sharing that she is struggling with food prep and meal prep and taking care of her family with nutrition. And she kept repeating the words, I don't even know what we're eating. I don't even know what we're eating. I don't even know what we're eating. I don't even know what anyone's eating. And I just paused her and I was like, well, for a second, let's just be honest though. What is everyone eating? And she knew exactly what they're eating. She's like, oh, well, fast food and stuff from this place. And she shared a couple things. And my feedback for her was like, okay, so you do know. So it's even something as small as that, saying like, well, I don't know what we're eating. Well, okay, I do. It's like, well, then just be honest, because it's for your own sanity, for your own mental health, for your own wellness, for your own ability to feel clear and connected and calm inside of yourself is when you're honest. I remember when I was in a relationship, the relationship I was in before I met my husband, and I was in this relationship, it was probably coming on 3 years, and I remember, I'll tell you this story as quickly as I can. I was dating this person and we moved into an apartment together, and I was very codependent. I was very lost. I had no clue who I was. I relationship hopped. I was also a chameleon. I had no understanding of who I was, no sense of self. I was so lost, so needy, so desperate, so clingy, so obsessed with pleasing the other. I was so in trauma. I was just so traumatized trying to survive. And I was in this relationship, and this person created jewelry and was going to go to a music festival to sell his jewelry. He just one day was like, I think tomorrow there's a music festival. I think I want to go to this music festival and sell my jewelry. And I had just started a new job waitressing across the street from where we lived. And I'm like, there's no way I can take the weekend off. Like, it's too soon. Unfortunately, I can't go. So he went, and it was actually our first time apart in a long time. And it was my first time having the apartment to myself. And I was actually really excited that he was leaving because I love having time to connect with just my energy and restoring my sense of self and just coming home to me. So he left, and I remember at this point it had been a very long time since I had climaxed, and this person did not like that I had any kind of pleasure toys, so he made me throw them out before I moved in with him, which is crazy reflecting on. And I went across the street to this little plaza that had a sex shop, and there was a tiny vibrator, and I went and got it, and I went to this restaurant. It was like 35 or so minutes away. It might have been longer than that, but they had a whole vegan menu. So I went and got, or a whole vegan, like just one, I don't even know how to describe it. They weren't a vegan restaurant, but they had a vegan platter. So like an appetizer, a main dish, a soup, salad, and like a dessert that you could get all vegan. So I went and got it. I don't even remember what the food was, but I remember there was a vegan brownie sundae. So there was a brownie and I believe ice cream with it. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't had anything like this in so long. I was plant-based at this time. I was just getting deep into like healthy eating and fitness and just taking care of myself. Like I found an inspiration to take care of myself differently. And I went and got myself this food because I had been cooking really clean for myself. And the thought of someone making me something that I could eat was so exciting. So I went and got that, came home, ate the food, used the vibrator, climaxed, and I remember crying for like 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. And in that moment, as soon as I climaxed, I came to a deep understanding within myself that I was so out of alignment and so unhappy. I didn't like my life. I didn't like my job. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like where I lived. I didn't like who I was with. I just didn't like anything about my life. I was like, oh my God, all of this is wrong. I don't like any of this. And I especially don't resonate with or like the person I'm dating. I don't want to be here anymore. It was so wild because he called me as soon as I started realizing that, because he was on acid and started sharing with me that something's wrong. There's this dark cloud around me. Like, I don't feel you anymore. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, what the hell? How do you feel this? This is crazy, because he wasn't even in the same state. And when he came home, I started to tell him the truth that, well, first of all, he told me like, I'm coming home right now. And I was like, absolutely not. If you come home and you drove on drugs, I won't be here. I will not be here if you decide to make that decision. Like, just come home when you're sober tomorrow or the next day. So he came home and we had a conversation. I told him that I'm not happy. And I remember he told me that if you leave, I will kill myself. Poor young me took that as, oh my God, if you do, it's my fault. That's my responsibility. So I swallowed my truth and I shoved it right back down into my gut. And I started to convince myself that this could work. I started to tell myself that this could work. Like, the stories I started to feed myself were so opposing to the truth of my heart. I started to have serious health complications. I started to get the worst cystic acne of my life, and I was prone to acne at this point. But suppressing my truth and withholding that energy of change, and with just really lying to myself every day about that, I just convincing myself that I didn't feel the way that I felt. I confused myself so much. I drove my friends crazy. They didn't want to hear me talk about him or my life at all anymore, because all I was talking about was how unhappy I was and how I didn't want it. But then I would convince myself why I needed to stay and why it was right. And I was just so lost. It was rough. I broke out in cystic acne on my chest, my neck, my jaw, my face, my back, like everywhere. I was eating tons of sugar, and it just was rough because I was just really trying to suppress the truth, and I was trying to force this to work. And 5 months later, it got to the point where I genuinely couldn't take it anymore. I could not take how much I was suffering from the fact that I didn't want to be here and I was staying here. So I told him that I felt as though we would work better with distance, and that I was absolutely willing to make this work. I just needed my own space. So we ended up both moving back in with our parents. And pretty much as soon as we did that, I ended things, because we no longer were near each other. And if something were to happen, God forbid, that he decided to do anything for that situation, that's not on me. So I left. And that journey taught me so much that suppressing my truth and denying my reality was so detrimental to my life's experience, to my day-to-day experience. I was in pain and suffering every single day because I was afraid of the truth, and because I couldn't own my truth, and because I couldn't honor my truth, and I wasn't willing to stand bravely in it because of what someone else said or what someone else might do. And I let the power of that overrule me. And that situation taught me a lot about why it's so important to be honest with yourself, and then to stand in that, and to not tell yourself stories, and also to be very mindful of the things you are telling yourself on a day-to-day experience. And everything that you're feeding yourself has to be monitored by your consciousness. You need to be aware of what you're thinking. You need to be aware of what you're telling yourself. You need to be aware of what you're feeding your mind, because if you're not paying attention to what you're thinking, then you could be governed by all kinds of craziness. And it's also really important not to lie to yourself. First of all, don't lie to yourself. Don't fool yourself. Don't fib yourself. Don't tell yourself you're okay when you're not. Don't tell yourself you're going to do something if you're not. Don't tell yourself that you're fine when you're not. Don't tell yourself that you're happy when you're not. Don't say yes when you mean no. Don't say no when you mean yes. Don't say you're after work, I'm going to go do XYZ when you keep saying that and you're not doing it. Just don't say it. Do the thing and then say, look, I did it. Just be honest with yourself. Don't pretend you like someone you don't. Just be super, super honest with yourself. Check your thoughts. Don't fool yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't trick yourself, because when you do, it is very difficult to come back to finding the ground beneath you. It's difficult to find your center again once you've told yourself so many lies. So practice today being honest with yourself. And even today, even in my life right now, I'm constantly working on catching it. I'm not perfect. I'm not constantly being super honest and transparent. It's an evolutionary work in progress. And whenever I say something that I know isn't genuinely true and it just kind of slips out, if I catch it, I will in the moment be like, nah, I didn't mean that, or that's not what I meant, or nope, that's not quite the right thing, or okay, no, actually what I mean is this. And I will practice catching myself in real time and owning it in the moment. I had a client that I reached out to, because I reach out to my clients every morning to remind them of their goals, to check in on how things are going. Like every day I'm checking. How are you? What can I do to support you? Did you do this yet? No? Okay, try this, do this. And I'm always empowering and motivating, inspiring. So I reached out to a client and I said, hey, here's my breakfast, because she asked if I could share what I'm eating for inspiration. So I shared my breakfast and I said, what did you have? And she shared that she didn't eat breakfast and she only had a bag of fruit, just one fruit. And I'm like, so no warm breakfast like we've been talking about. And she gave me this list of all these reasons why no. And then ultimately said, like, I'm just feeling really sad and down, like I'm falling behind. And I love that, because that's being honest. And I shared with her, then feel sad. Like, feel your sadness all the way through, because that sadness has a purpose for being here. It actually makes a lot of sense you feel sad, because you're not living up to what you desire to be. You're not living up to your truth. You're not living up to your best self. You are slipping back, and feeling sad is perfectly aligned for where you're at right now. So feel your sadness all the way through, because sometimes what you can do is you can be aware there's an emotion there, but you're not really giving yourself to feeling it fully. And every time you feel an emotion all the way through fully with your full presence, you transform afterwards, because it does change you chemically. You're different after you feel an emotion. So I told her to feel her emotion and to feel sad, and to understand that it makes total sense that she feels this way. And we are starting again. You're going to stand back up. It doesn't matter if you fall. It doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if you mess up and make mistakes. That's part of growth. That's part of life. That's okay. I need you to feel the sadness so then you can find the decision within yourself to stand back up again and keep going and try again. And she's like, I was like, because you can do this. You can absolutely do this. We can keep going. And she's like, yes, okay, yes, I can. I can do this. So it's about being honest with yourself, not denying your reality, not denying your truth, being honest, like, this is actually where I'm feeling, and it makes sense that I do feel this way. I'm giving myself permission to be honest that I am actually not doing great. Great. That's great feedback and great information. Almost every day that I wake up, I look back on yesterday and I think, like, how could I be better than yesterday? Where did I not show up greater? What could I do better? And it's how I'm growing and living my life. And something that's true and honest on my heart, that it can feel difficult and embarrassing to share, but I really just want to be honest with you, because this podcast for me is a way for me to just be real and genuine and connect with you like two women on the path. Perhaps you're a male listening, and you are so welcome. One day I may open things up to being direct with anybody, but for right now, my work through understanding a woman's perspective from sexual trauma, I'm just more dedicated to speaking specifically to that kind of woman. However, what I am recognizing is how long ago was it? Maybe it was in January, February, March, April, May, June. Maybe it was in May or June of this year, 2025, that I was working as a Pilates studio manager. And I was going by the name Athena, which, if you've heard me talk about it before, was a name that I have a really long history with. And it came to me when I left that one relationship of that person that I wasn't happy with, and I moved back home, and I was finally free. I felt the most liberated I had ever felt in my entire life because I was free from another's energy. I was excited to just spend time with me and get to know me. I had all these plans to create artwork, like you can see a snippet of it, but my mandala painting back here. I wanted to get a van, and I wanted to travel and teach yoga and do yoga and do my blog and share and sell artwork. I just had this like bohemian hippie like dream at the time. I was just so happy. And Athena, the name Athena, started coming to me as who I really was and who the true me was. The sexual goddess woman that is truly me was Athena. And then fast forward many, many, many years, I started to remember my trauma and my sexual abuse, and that name came back, and I adopted the identity of Athena, and I genuinely believe that it saved me. I was really embarrassed about it for a while and really thought I was crazy. I was really embarrassed by having changed my name and being like worried about what people would think about me for changing my name. And then I changed it back to Sarah, and then back to Athena, and then back to Sarah. And it was really kind of frantic and scattered. But ultimately, in retrospect, I'm so grateful, and I'm proud of myself for doing it, even though it was really hard and scary to do. Because I genuinely believe that changing my name to Athena saved my life. It gave me a pillar to reach for and to rise to, a standard to live my life by, a version of myself to be, a leader to embody, that I genuinely don't believe I would have had the connecting point to that without Athena. So I believe that Athena saved my life when I started to really go into the depths of my healing from my trauma. And I'm really glad that I did it. But it did come to a point where once I felt healed enough, I didn't feel like I needed it anymore. I didn't feel like I needed to rely on that. I didn't need it for my strength. I didn't need her to be strong for me anymore. I felt I could be strong as myself, Sarah. So I was working as Athena, and it was just getting to this point where I'm like, this isn't my authentic self, and I'm coming to an understanding of what that means. And I had a point of being able to contact my abuser and request a specific amount of money to go. I just requested a certain amount of money because it felt like the exchange of like, I deserve something from what you did to me. And I requested it, and to my surprise, I got it. So I got enough money to where I could take 3 months off of work and still support my life and go to several professional help service providers. And I saw a sex therapist, I saw a traditional psychologist, and I saw a EMDR therapist. And I am so grateful for that chapter and having made the decision to leave that job and to pursue healing and to have first asked for something really big. You never know what you can get in life unless you ask. And so I've then started my job again as a coach for my own company. I opened up Vibe Higher LLC, which is a different company from the first one that I opened, Wildly Holistic LLC. And I just felt like it was time for a fresh start. I felt like everything that I had done up until this point was all practice and trial run and getting me in the arena of understanding and figuring things out. But now is the time to really dive in and to go all the way. So it came to a point recently where I recognized one of my clients and I were not quite a fit anymore, and it just felt like it was an ending of a chapter. That's okay. Like, change is okay, and things just felt like they were changing. So I honored that, and I shared with her where I was coming from, and we decided that that time is coming to an end. So the finances that I had that was supporting me for the next couple months to be able to run my business and not need to work work for somebody else is coming to an end. So I talked to my husband about it and shared that, hey, this is what's happening. Can I have until next Friday to see if I can get some new clients and see if some new finances can come in before I perhaps look for another job? And he said yes. So technically, today's Tuesday for me. I have until this Friday to see if I can get another 1, 2, or 3 clients. And I, at first, was really scared to share that and embarrassed to share that because, like, what if I say that and then it doesn't come true? Or what if I say that and then it doesn't happen? And I think that that's okay. I'm coming to an actual acceptance of it because I've really been sitting with it that what if I don't get any more clients? What if my business doesn't work out? What if this doesn't become what I pray for it to be? Then that has to mean, if I believe what I teach, that has to mean that there's something better for me that God has planned, that this has been training me for. I have to believe that. And so practicing that faith and that belief in releasing what I believe I want, what I believe I need. There's been many times in my past where I've believed what I wanted was it, and then God took me in a completely different path that was way more aligned and way more growth oriented for me than what I was doing for myself. But I didn't even have any reference to that possibility because I didn't see the bigger picture. So I had to really come to this place, and I do believe there will be a grieving process if it doesn't align in the way that I desire for it to. And I mean, this is short notice too. Like, who knows? It could be years until this takes off, or maybe it doesn't. Practicing accepting what it is I desire and believing it to be true and welcoming it in through the energetic practice of manifestation and embodying that and seeing what it can become, but also releasing the outcome, because I don't want to hold on to something that if God has some kind of other plan for me, I don't want that to get in the way. And I also don't want to tell myself that, oh, this just isn't for me if it doesn't work out, trying to spare myself from feeling embarrassment or fear of failing publicly or anything like that, because when I was sharing with you, I think it was yesterday's podcast, what I learned is I was putting my success in money, in money, really it was. I was putting my feeling of success in money, and I recognize that money is not my master, but I keep making it my master. And I keep being in a place of serving, like I'm a servant to money, like I'm desperate for money. And it just put me in this new mindset. Being successful has nothing to do with whether this business works out or not. That's not what real success is for me. What I'm realizing success is for me is what I've created in my life. What I've created in my life is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful marriage with a man who is wonderful, devoted to his own path and committed to truth and honesty and challenging me to stay in my truth and challenging my thoughts and challenging my beliefs and being a pillar and an example and an inspiration. And he's so wonderful. I think that I know that he saved me as well, just as much as Athena saved me. My husband saved me, and so did my spirit guide, Maximus. So did Maximus. Maximus is a story for another time. If you've been with me for a long time, besides this specific business, you've heard the story before. I had a white albino deer that came to me in real life that was an actual spirit guide that I connected with, and there's just a whole story to that. But my husband has been such a strong support system for me, and we are continuously growing and getting closer and opening up, and it's just wonderful. And we have our days and we have our times, and we all have moments of, like, we both have moments of our own stress in our own lives that deter us from being present with one another. And the best we can do is keep learning how to be our better selves together. I couldn't ask for a better partner. I'm so blessed to be married to him. So I shared with him, okay, so can I have until Monday? Because that doesn't mean I'll be able to have like my end of what I contribute financially to the relationship. I won't necessarily have that, but can I have until Friday to see if something can align? And he said yes. And I started to really ponder on, if this isn't the timing for it, or if this isn't what it becomes, can I accept it? And what have I learned from it? And I am so aghast in the most beautiful way at the woman that I am. I feel so open. I am so much less paralyzed in fear. I am so much more brave and strong and confident, clear in my articulation, clear in how I'm speaking, connected to my heart, connected to my softness, my femininity. I am so much more intelligent, wise, present. I can listen more deeply. I can hear more deeply. I can hold space more deeply. I've learned how much I can inspire people and motivate people and empower people. I've learned how to open my voice. I've learned how to challenge other people's perspectives and thoughts. I've learned to no longer fear people's emotions or pain. I've learned not to fear what people are going to say. I've learned to show up in front of a camera when that was terrifying to me. I've learned to face difficulties. I've learned to open up. I've learned to be seen. I've learned to feel exposed and learn that that's safe. I've an outlet for new design, and I've learned how much I judge myself, and I've practiced not judging myself. I've practiced freedom of expression without judgment and without shame and without embarrassment. I've learned so much about who I am and my psyche and my emotions from my business. My business has been such a container for me to grow and develop and become so much more than I could ever have imagined. So if things don't go the way that I desire them to go, if I don't get a client by Friday, and if I do need to go find a job somewhere, and if things do not go according to my plan, I can look at and say openly, I'm so proud of who I am because of what my business has taught me and the space that I have been granted to go through this healing process of all of this therapy the last couple months and all of this time to integrate what I've learned in the space to feel safe and to settle out of survival and to relax. I have reached a level of relaxing and trust and safety from not needing to go work the hustle of this culture out in life and work for myself at a slower pace and take care of our home. And if this chapter is coming to an ending and there is something new for me, then I'm so grateful I got to experience working from home and taking care of my animals. I have both my dogs in my office with me. They come to work with me every single day. I know that they love having me here because they don't want to be alone. I'm here to take care of my animals and feed my cats. And I've just, so much about this chapter has been beautiful. And it also helps me recognize that not everything is permanent. Not everything's going to last. If this chapter of having been able to have this space to heal and integrate and be is all that it was, that this is the chapter and it's coming to an end, then I am so glad it happened. And I can say that I lived it to the fullest. I received it as much as I could, knowing this chapter could end. I might need to go work somewhere else, and that's okay. So coming to a place of true acceptance of, if my plan doesn't go according to plan, can I accept that God is something else for me? Because when I go work somewhere else, I'm typically in leadership and management, and I have a lot of influence and power in those positions, and I take that very, very seriously. And I hold myself to a very high standard, and I hold other people to that. And I'm a representation and an example of something that a lot of people don't have in their lives. And perhaps that's where I am most meaningful. It's where I am maybe the most impactful, is being around people who need that kind of connection. I have no idea. I just know that whatever happens, I trust. I trust. I let go of my grip of needing anything. And sometimes what I recognize is I come to this place of being in a service to self of, what can I get from God? God, I want this. God, I want this. God, I need this. God, bring me this. And if I just flip that around to, what can I do for you, God? What can I do for your mission for me? What is it that I'm here to do? How can I serve you? How can I serve the mission? And perhaps this was all just a catalyst to help me get ready for it. Whether that is my company or somebody else's, I don't know. Whatever is going to happen, I am excited because I am learning more and more about myself, and I'm learning to like myself more and more every single day. I've learned so much about my subconscious mind and my mind. I've learned how to teach. I've learned how to create courses. I've learned about website design. I've learned about marketing, copywriting, just all different kinds of things I didn't have skills in before. And every time that I've actually gone out into the world and worked for somebody, there's been so much I've learned about myself and about the job and about people and behavior and growth that I wouldn't have had without the real life experience. So I would be sad if it didn't take off or if I didn't get a client, because I've been doing all of the right things to receive, to manifest, to call in. But I also would understand that, okay, then take me and use me where you see me best fit, because I know I will be of service in a great way. I know I will learn, and I know I'm going to be okay. So it's an interesting place to be, of surrender, but also having such a strong thing on my heart that I dream of and desire. And perhaps because I believed that I was ready 5 years ago for me to be in the position that I am now. I believed about 5 years ago that I was ready to have all the clients and run the business. And I knew nothing at the time. I knew nothing about finances or the legality of business or running an LLC, having a company. I knew nothing about time management truly and discipline, and I could barely hold myself accountable to my personal life's work and my business. There's so much I was not ready for. And at the time, I'm like, why isn't it here, God? Why isn't the dream here? Why isn't the dream self here? Like, I'm doing all the things. I'm ready. Like, I'm telling you I'm ready. And I can look back and be like, oh my God, I was so far from ready. I needed so much more experience. I needed so much more molding before that came true for me. So I'm at a point now where if there's more molding and more work and more that needs to go into me becoming ready for whatever my future is, then I want to accept that humbly instead of looking at it like something's wrong because it's not here or being stressed that it's not here. Because if it's not here, it's for a reason. And that doesn't mean anything bad. So I'm in an interesting place of surrender and dreaming big, and even being here telling you vulnerably, like I have this dream and I'm willing to release it if there's something greater for me. But I'm not afraid to say it today that I have this dream of being a really successful entrepreneur where I can, as a practitioner, help women. But perhaps it's meant to be somewhere else. A brick and mortar in person helping people is very different than being online. There's a lot of differences. So perhaps today you and I both come to a place of dreaming big and honoring the dream and fantasizing and imagining just the possibility of it, because just alone that makes us feel good. And being willing to accept whatever life has in store for us and whatever life has planned for us. Whatever that is, and that comes from trust. So for now, all I can do is continue to show up, continue to do my best, continue to be the best wife I can be, the best animal mom I can be, the best home caretaker, the best business owner, the best practitioner, the best podcaster. All I can do is keep practicing, keep showing up, keep doing my best. I say we take a deep breath together, sister. Take a deep breath in with me. And out. Don't forget to breathe today. Don't forget to breathe today. Thank you for sitting with me in real time, whether you're listening to me on Apple or iTunes, or if you're with me on YouTube and you're sitting with me real time. I'm grateful for you, if you're here listening still, that you have held space for me to share more of my story. And I'm just excited because I feel home. I feel like I'm home. I'm home in my body. I'm home in my heart. I'm home in my voice. I hear my voice. I hear my heart. I hear my truth. I hear myself. I see myself. And living a life of not hearing my true self and not seeing myself, but seeing all the just distorted things about me and just hearing the inauthentic voice and seeing the face I didn't recognize, it's not a fun place to be. Not a good place to be. And if you're there, there is a way home. There is a way home. Take today's theme. Be honest with yourself. Be honest when you're not happy. Be honest when you are. Be honest when you mean no. Be honest when you mean yes. Be honest when you want to do something. Be honest when you don't. Let your emotions inform you, but not fully guide you. Let your wisdom guide you. Let your consciousness guide you. Because you might not feel like working out, but your consciousness knows the best thing for you to do for yourself is to work out. If you're on YouTube, give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss an upcoming podcast video. And if you're on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, make sure you are subscribed as well and leave me a review. It helps the business grow. I would really appreciate it. And share it to your stories. Tag me at Vibe Higher with Sarah if you had a takeaway from today, and share with me what you're tuning in from, where you're tuning in from, and what you're taking away. Have a fabulous day, and thank you for being with me here on the Vibe Higher podcast. Thank you so much, friend, for tuning into the Vibe Higher podcast today. If you loved today's episode, please share it with a friend, leave me a review, and do not forget to subscribe so you never miss your Monday morning level up. For more tools, inspiration, and ways to work with me, visit vibehigherwithsarah.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and keep vibing higher.